Lord, would you look at me? Just as classy and sassy as ever. Now, what I'm going to do for the A2VK, it's a WrestleTalk podcast. I'm going to go right now and I'm going to check it out. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. WrestleTalk is what they offer. And hopefully they put me over like hell, honey, because I know for a fact I'm the classiest thing ever. So go to A2VK and make sure those nasty things are putting me over like I deserve. Nothing but nasties, I tell you.
All right. So
do you want to move into SmackDown?
We certainly can move into SmackDown. Welcome to Friday. Right, so as far as SmackDown results go, I've not a lot to say on the first match. I've got Sonya versus Mandy. And, you know, the only thing I want to say on it really is that I was a bit, disappointed with it. I assume they're revisiting it all again, but it was not the best match. I mean, how did you find this match, Carl? Because it wasn't... I think it was a bit lackluster. It was a bit limp, really, considering the build-up we've had to them two battling it out.
Yeah, it was shite. Yeah, it was really bad. They've put ages and so much fucking effort into this whole feud between the two of them, and again, it didn't really feel like a grudge match or anything. It just felt like just a little fisticuffs.
Yeah. I think it almost doesn't help that obviously it's a story. And I'm not saying that when people have got good feuds, they naturally hate each other, but I don't know if there's potentially something to that. Like they're good friends still, and maybe it's hard for them to play that role. Maybe they're just not the best at it, if you know what I mean. Because, like you say, it didn't feel like a grudge match, and considering the animosity, I don't know. I was a bit unimpressed with it, to say the least. But that's how we opened the show, Carl.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and then we move on to an 8-man tag match, which I'll be honest was visually quite interesting. It was a bit all over the place in some senses, kind of hard to follow at times, but overall not bad. The only thing for me with this one was it was a decent showing for the Forgotten Sons, but the Lucha House Party got absolutely... I mean, I suppose that's exactly what happens, isn't it? Because they've not really been big on the card anyway, but they got fucking squashed. And it was okay. I suppose because we're all anticipating a bigger thing at Money in the Bank, it was almost needless this to go into this match, I suppose. But how did you find the 8-man tag? Because I must admit I found it a bit hard to follow at times because there was that many moving parts, really.
Yeah, similar. To be fair, it was fine for what it was, but I don't know. It didn't feel like it was two heel teams, two face teams. It just felt like a bit of a mishmash of people that were put together, and as you said, it was just a bit all over the place. So it was just a bit. And
this it caused a bit of a concern really for the pending match of Money in the Bank, because if this was a bit chaotic, Money in the Bank was going to be worse. Do you know what I mean? But that was kind of the vibe I got really going into it. I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't overly sold on this. Again, nothing much more I can say on it really, unless you have anything you want to say. But it was a bit of a messy match for me, that one.
Yeah.
Didn't do a lot to build Money in the Bank, and the Money in the Bank one. And we'll have more to say on that. It was better, but this didn't really do much to build it. So after that, we move on to Corbin doing his usual promo shite. We sort of, this is classic Corbin, isn't it? X-Pac heat. You know, it went on a lot longer than it needs to be. I don't know. We're sort of building up to this 6-man tag match, which is going to be Corbin, Shinsuke, and Cesaro versus Brian Gulak and a mystery partner. And now, I'll be honest now, Carl. I called the mystery partner wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you have said the mystery partner was going to be, Carl?
Elias.
Yeah, exactly. Elias. It felt like it was going to be Elias, and weirdly, and I won't say who it is just yet, but it was not Elias, and I was quite surprised that it wasn't Elias. But Corbin promo, talking shite as Corbin does. Again, it's I find it hard to sort of really buy anything he does promo wise. He's just an unlikable guy. So what did we have next, Carl? What did we have next? We had, Jeff is back. Good old Jeff Hardy using his old music. Okay, I mean, wasn't it on the bump? He actually said that he's got no more words.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize he actually meant on the bump. I thought he meant his theme music, but maybe he just had nothing else to say. But no, he's teased and mentioned his old theme music, or his old new theme music, because he's using his old theme music now. So his old new theme music, he was meant to be using again, but came out, didn't use the old Hardy theme. Maybe for Money in the Bank, who knows? And then, yeah, I weren't a big fan of the way they've done this because Jeff's come out and he's talking about wanting another chance and wanting the people to get behind him. It's like people were getting behind him anyway. I think they're treating this like this is him coming back to the WWE, but he had a tag run with Matt. He's been back in the WWE. People were behind him.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't been gone that long. So it felt a little bit weird for me. And then they kept cutting to Sheamus in the back talking to the TV because, why not? So the whole sort of setup for it was a bit strange for me. And then, we end up with Sheamus coming out. I'm still not big on the whole Sheamus is getting pissy because you've got video packages in and around his matches on SmackDown. But, ultimately Sheamus comes out. They have a back and forth. But it doesn't really build anywhere, evidently. We'll get onto that at Money in the Bank. But I assume they're still building towards this. And I don't know if you noticed, Carl, but basically back and forth, a bit of a tussle as you always expect. Jeff actually hit the twist of fate, so they seem to have dropped Twist of Fury now. Right? Yeah. Don't know why. Maybe they got because of the negative reaction they got to the twist of, because obviously when he called it the Twist of Fury, everyone was like, "Oh, Matt's took it," and he's getting all pissy about it, which obviously wasn't the case. So he's back to calling it the Twist of Fate now. So. Okay, yeah, that's good. So we had this back and forth, and Jeff got the upper hand, as you'd expect. And again, without spoiling too much, I was expecting this to lead to a match between them. We've yet to get that. And the next part of the night, we have Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt. I mentioned slightly before on the Raw segments, Bray's referred to the title as a burden that he must relieve Braun of. I've been enjoying this little back and forth between the two of them, I'll be honest, because there's history there, and when you can build on history, it's always quite good. That being said, even when you've got time and you've got recording space to work on your fucking mic, you still come across a bit shit. What I didn't like about this, and I think I might have mentioned to you, or I might have tweeted, I can't even remember, but it was very much like a bratty stepson. That was how Braun was coming across. You're not my real dad. Like, literally, I think at one point he's like, "You can't tell me what to do," and I'm like, "Really? Like, the fuck?" So, for someone who's meant to be a monster, the monster among men, he come across like a whiny teen. That's the only issue I've got with the promo itself between the two. But literally, Bray's in something, he sells something, and he was selling the history between them. And he was pumping me up for their match. The worry I've got with their match, or had with their match, because I'm trying to pretend like I've not seen Money in the Bank at this point. The worry I had with this match was the fact that it's going to be Braun versus Bray, not Braun versus The Fiend.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, not a bad pro. I don't know if you have anything you want to say on the promo. But again, I think it was held up by Bray, but it was decent.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Braun isn't really coming across very well. I don't think. I don't even know if it's like he's not coming across well as a face, or just whether he's not coming across well at all. I don't, like, similar to what you just said. Then he just feels very bland. Do you know what I mean? It feels a bit like I think I'm not sure if it was this week or the previous week where he's like, "I'm not going to say you're going to get these hands. Do you think I'm stupid?" And it's like, well, you say it every other fucking week. What are you on about? Like, I don't know.
Like, why wouldn't you say it?
Exactly. It's like, it's your catchphrase, isn't it? You got it on a fucking t-shirt. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You know about? But I don't know. He doesn't come across as believable.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't know. They want him to be intimidating, but even like how goofy was when he left and he was like, "Bye, see you Sunday." Like trying to like Bray does it in like in a friendly, scary way. If that makes sense. Like he's smiling and he sounds happy, but he's terrifying. Braun just seemed like he was being a bit of a saggy, moody teen again. It just didn't play well for me. It doesn't make Braun intimidating.
No, I agree.
But again, not bad because it was held up by Bray, who is fantastic on the mic and good at selling these sort of things. Right, and then we moved on to Banks and Bayley versus Lacey Evans and Tamina, because that needed to happen. I'll be honest, it was a pretty good match. I didn't mind it. I feel like it probably went on longer than it needed to. And personally, for me, without ruining the finish, I try not to talk about the actual finishes of matches and stuff because, if anyone's listening to it has not seen it for some fucking reason, I don't fully ruin things. But in this case, I want to mention it because Tamina took the pin on Bayley. That's how the finish went. And that's smacks of the kiss of death for me. Like, she's got the pin there and then she's pinned the champ. and that's like, look, can she do it again Sunday? Like, no, that's why she's done it now.
No one
she's
ever
done
does.
it now because she's not going to do it Sunday. That's what you've done. So,
yeah.
For me, straight away, that's like, well, you've just told me the result.
Yeah,
but wasn't a bad match. It's just probably a bit too long. And fair note to Lacey. She, I do want to see her in a title picture soon. I think she's getting better and better every time I see her, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel it's a shame really for her, because I feel like she's just kind of stuck, in like shitty storylines like this, where obviously the main focal point of this is, what's going on between Bayley and Sasha, and then Tamina's been brought into it as like the foe in the short term, but then Lacey just, I don't know, she's just there as well, and it's like, I don't know, it feels like she hasn't really been used that well. I feel like everyone else who's in the Money in the Bank have got, different kind of interesting storylines, whereas I don't feel like they're using Lacey as well as they could be doing for, ahead of the pay-per-view. She's just sort of there kind of helping Tamina for some reason. It's like, well,
yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, she's helping Tamina because she's gunning for Banks, but they seem to have dropped the Banks thing. Like, I would have been happy with a singles match between her and Lacey.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's not like Banks had what did Banks do at Money in the Bank? You know what I mean? I don't know. Is she wrestling no, she must be wrestling at the minute. We've seen her in the ring, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It just seems to me like they could have maybe had some closure to Aaron Banks a bit more. I don't know. Like, she's clearly still going for it because she was in the tag match. But, yeah, I don't know. Either way, not a bad match overall. And then, for some reason, we got a nice little tour of headquarters, which, I'll be honest, I was like, why the fuck? We're going to see this at Money in the Bank. That's like before we see, when we had the Edge and Randy Orton match. That would be like the week before, giving us a tour of the Performance Center. Like, these are all the places he's going to fight in. Like, what's the fucking point? But, we got to see the HQ a little bit. So that was nice, I guess. I mean, the good thing to see was it gives you an idea of the magnitude when you see the ring that they'd set up on top of the building. So that it was good. It was a good visual, that, to be fair. But yeah, did this do anything to hype you up for Money in the Bank, Carl?
No, not really. It's one of them. To be honest, I feel like it probably put me off a little bit, whereas actually watching the match itself, which I know we'll come on to in a bit, did a much better job of, actually delivering than the little promo package that they did, because it felt a bit corny, like the way they were talking about it. And, the match itself was fucking corny. It was cheesy as fuck, but I feel like it was corny in a good way, whereas like the video package was like, oh, they could even end up in Vince McMahon's office. Okay, no one cares. Like,
yeah, what one of our 5 luxury spas? Like,
yeah.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah. It's a really shit episode of Cribs.
Do you know what? I'd have loved it more if it had been an episode of Cribs and it's Vince like, come on in.
See what's in my fridge.
But yeah, I mean, some people might have enjoyed it, but for me, I'm like, well, we're going to see enough of it, so I didn't need that bit. I don't know why I put it in my notes because it's needless, but we had a promo for Dana and Carmella because, yeah, okay, why not? Because the mates and they're going to be rivals. And then we move on to the main event, which was the 6-man tag match. So we had the totally always been together legitimate team of Corbin, Shinsuke, and Cesaro versus Drew Gulak, Daniel Bryan, and the mystery partner. Who was it? I'll tell you who it was, Carl, because earlier in the night, Daniel Bryan walked over to Otis and said, "Hey Otis, did you hear what they said about you? They've been talking shit about you." Hey Otis, they said you're a dickhead. So naturally, Otis wanted to join the match. So we get the surprise entrance of Otis, who's he's now the third. Again, called that wrong. This is a week of calling things wrong, Carl. To be honest, no prediction has ever fucking worked out for me.
Not being a good week.
And it felt like it should have been Elias, but here we are. The relative is, I'd have moaned if it was Elias as well. So you can't win WWE sometimes. But again, not a bad match. One note I want to make is Corey Graves says, and I quote, "Few can do what Corbin can do with his hands." Okay, they know each other a lot better than I thought they did. Unusual comment to make, but yeah, it wasn't a bad match. It ended with a lot of shenanigans, which ultimately left Corbin alone in the ring. And they always do this. right? And I don't know how you feel about this because I'm not moaning specifically about Corbin or specifically about this match. It's something they do every time there's a Money in the Bank. But he decides, I'm going to go and get the ladder and I'm going to go and get the briefcase down now. What is the point in that? Why is that? Why do they always do that? They ended up with this random impromptu fucking Money in the Bank ladder match with no payoff because whoever gets the briefcase is only going to have to put it fucking back there anyway.
Exactly, yeah. Just imagine if just Vince came out and was like, put it back. Oh, okay.
It's like, as an example, right? Again, spoilers, sorry. Corbin climbs the ladder and he gets the briefcase after many shenanigans back and forth with him and Brian. Brian being the main high flyer there, so it just makes sense. Funny segment with Otis not being able to climb the ladder because the steps broke under his feet. That did tickle me. And he climbs up and he gets the case down and he's there victorious holding the case, which means fuck all. Right, and again is another kiss of death. It's like, Corbin, you're not going to win. You're not going to win on Sunday because you just took the case down now. That's all. Yeah. That you just sealed it because you're not going to do that twice.
I feel like as well, like with any other kind of year where it was a standard Money in the Bank match, then okay, fine. You know, you've proved you can climb with the ladder and get the briefcase, which is what you'll have to do on Sunday. This match wasn't even fucking. I was like, climbing the ladder for the briefcase was like the fucking 2-minute thing at the end. Like, it was about fucking fighting in the performance. And what did you prove? Yeah. If anything, you should have fucking ran up the fucking building steps and gone, look, I can make it to a roof. You know, but you wanted to achieve.
That's a really good point, actually. It's not your typical Money in the Bank, so why are you doing your typical finish?
Exactly.
The ladder bit is like the very last bit. But yeah, for me, SmackDown overall, from a match standpoint, there were some really good matches on there. Like, they were interesting to watch, they were compelling, but from a story standpoint and from a reason for me to care why these matches are happening, not very strong. And for that reason, I'm probably going to land on a 2 because this was the weakest show of the week.
Yeah.
So that's it was a 2 for me. I want to give it a little bit of credit for the matches themselves because some of the matches were good to watch.
Yeah, I went even lower. I went 1.5.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think, yeah, I don't know, like, for this to be the go-home show for, like, the pay-per-view, it just didn't feel like that at all. Like, nothing really big felt like it happened, and I am getting really sick of these just, like, shitty main events that are, like, tag matches that are, do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but it all fell flat for me, like, literally up and down the card, the way that it kicked off with Mandy and Sonya, that was a load of shite. The tag team match was a bit, you know, all over the place. Corbin on the microphone, shit. You know, Jeff Hardy's back, who cares? You know, the Braun face-to-face with Bray, like, he shit the bed on that. The women's match was okay. The tour of the HQ, okay. And then the fucking 6-man, which I thought was pretty shit too. So it's just like, all in all, I just wasn't sold on it. And for it to be the go, yeah, just like a waste.
Yeah, totally agree. So so that was SmackDown. I think it's a fair rating cut. As I say, I'm trying to give it a little bit of credit for the technical matches, but you're not wrong. It was the weakest show of the week, and considering this is the last show before the Money in the Bank, yeah, it deserves every bad rating.